So is Portugal the country we should be looking to in the United States to find solutions to some of our biggest problems? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So I had the opportunity a couple of years ago to go to Portugal. It was kind of by accident on a business trip. Frankly, it had never been on my list of places that I'd want to go to. I was amazed, though, by what a beautiful country it is, how well kept it is, how nice the people are, how affordable the living expenses are. It was really a very nice place to live. I found out that a surprising number of American expatriates have actually retired there, and I can certainly understand why. Well, subsequent to that trip, I found out that Portugal is actually a great example of progressive policies and how well they have worked for the population of their country. This is kind of ironic given the fact that at one point, not all that long ago, Portugal was a fascistic dictatorship run by a military junta. But now you've got a progressive democratic government that really is leading the way on progressive policies for the world. What made me think of Portugal again was an article in the New York Times describing how virtually nobody in Portugal is left to be vaccinated. They've vaccinated virtually everybody in the country. According to statistics, 98% of all those eligible for vaccines, meaning everybody over 12, has been fully vaccinated, not just one vaccine. And this is after about a year ago where Portugal's health system was on the verge of collapse, and earlier this year where they were way behind other countries in getting vaccines into people's arms. The result has been an end to all restrictions as a result of coronavirus in Portugal. After all, they don't have to worry about it. There's nobody left to infect. How did Portugal do it? Well, apparently they appointed an admiral from their navy to lead the effort. And he approached this as if it was a war, saying everybody had to be vaccinated and keeping the politics out of it. Imagine that, keeping the politics out of whether people should be vaccinated or not. And if you think that this is the result of the fact that there's no polarization in Portugal, don't kid yourself. Portugal has a minority left government, which means that they also have to struggle to build majority support for any agenda that they have. Well, here they succeeded. Another example of Portugal's success has been in their decriminalization of drugs. What has the result been? Well, it's been a declining use of drugs, a declining prison population, and fewer drug deaths. Crime has gone down. And if you think that this is just part of some bigger trend, when compared with its fellow travelers in the European Union, its numbers look much better than theirs. So where in 2001, Portugal had a prison population actually higher on a percentage basis than other European nations, now it has one lower than them. Drug use has also gone down, just showing how bad a job criminalizing drugs does in actually stopping drug use. HIV transmission has gone down, as well as hepatitis B and C, which can be passed by the shared use of needles. And one study from 2015 found that the costs of drug use in Portugal had declined 18% between 2000 and 2010. Wouldn't you love to see this type of progress happening here in the United States? After all, here in the United States, 1/5 of the incarcerated population, or 456,000 individuals, are serving time for a drug charge. And that doesn't even take into account how many of the violent offenses where people are imprisoned are actually driven by drugs. So why won't we consider this? Well, as it turns out, once again, it's about race. By the numbers, for example, Black Americans make up nearly 30% of all drug-related arrests, despite accounting for only 12.5% of all substance users. And by the way, as always, I'll click links to the articles that support my arguments down below. And as Ava DuVernay pointed out in her Netflix documentary 13th, the 13th Amendment, which bans slavery, actually has a provision in it that allows forced servitude if you've been convicted of a crime. So in effect, the drug war has become a backdoor to re-enslaving many Black people. What's more is many states ban the ability of convicted felons to vote. We all know what happened in Florida after a referendum changed that law. Despite that fact then, The state legislature and the governor went forward and created laws to make it harder, once again, for felons who had done their time to vote, requiring them to pay back any fees that they might owe before they are allowed to vote, something that frequently stands in the way of their being able to exercise that right. Why does that matter? Well, again, given the racial disparities in people who've been convicted of crimes, it's one more way that black people can be disenfranchised, allowing what increasingly in the United States is a white minority to maintain control of the country despite their dwindling numbers. Once again, something that seems completely unrelated is related to race and power, the things that are the driving forces here in the United States. Unfortunately, until we can address those issues, it's going to be tough for us to actually create meaningful reform in so many areas, including these. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you could leave me a like and maybe subscribe to this video, that'd be a huge help. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.